Attorney General Merrick B. Garland offered a fiery defense of the Justice Department's investigation of Hunter Biden yesterday, telling a House committee he was not Congress's prosecutor and would not reveal details of the inquiry, no matter how much pressure lawmakers applied. During a grueling hearing before the House Judiciary Committee that foreshadowed a bruising impeachment fight ahead, Mr. Garland repeatedly refused to answer questions about internal deliberations or offer explanations for decision-making in the investigation or the two federal indictments of former President Donald Trump. House Republicans view Mr. Garland as a linchpin as they seek to bolster an impeachment inquiry into the President Biden affair that is grounded thus far in inconclusive evidence, says the New York Times, that he profited from business dealings of his son, Hunter. Volodymyr Zelenskyy is asking Republicans for continued war funding. This from USA Today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is headed back to Capitol Hill. This time he could be leaving empty-handed. Congress is consumed with a spending fight that is much about the war in Ukraine as it is slashing federal expenditures. Unlike last year, a visit from Zelenskyy may not move the needle. Conservatives in the House Republican Conference are pushing for Ukraine assistance to be left out of a bill that would keep the government open through the end of the year. They are demanding stronger reporting on how the money is spent and could end up voting to withhold aid altogether. U.S. officials say a shutdown would snarl assistance to Ukraine that has already been proposed, which could hurt Zelensky's ability to drive Russia out of his country. There's a possible President Biden plan to give illegal immigrants ICE IDs. This from USA Today. New images obtained by Fox News shed light on the Biden administration's planned ID for illegal immigrants as officials look for ways to track the volume of migrants being released into the U.S. Fox News, along with other outlets, reported last year on the ICE Secure Docket Card program that Immigrations and Customs Enforcement said would modernize all kinds of documentation provided to provisionally released non-citizens through a consistent, verifiable, and secure card. Migrants who arrive at the border illegally and are not removed but instead released into the interior of the U.S. are often given a number of documents depending on their situation. The images show a card with a room for a photograph, a QR code, and identifying information and security details, as well as the ICE logo in the top left-hand corner. Out of politics this morning, President Donald Trump, or former President Donald Trump, is taking criticism over a statement on abortion. This from Fox News. Pro-life groups are vowing to put pressure on former President Donald Trump after the leading Republican 2024 candidate did an about-face on abortion and began opposing some restrictions. Trump turned on the pro-life movement over a matter of days this week, labeling Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' 6-week ban a terrible thing and abandoning a push for federal-level restrictions. Now, many within the pro-life movement are prepared to pressure Trump, what they say, back into the fold. Are pro-lifers going to allow themselves to be a cheap date, said Patrick Brown, a fellow with the Conservative Ethics and Public Policy Center's Life and Family Initiative, talking to Politico. Quote, are they going to sit back and take it when candidates are denigrating the cause they've denigrated their life to, unquote. Donald Trump Jr.'s X account has been hacked, and strange posts thus ensued. This from the U.S. Sun. Donald Trump Jr.'s social media account was hacked as the former president's son shared, according to this hacked account, there were apparently shared posts claiming his father had died and that he, Donald Trump Jr., was running for president. I'm sad to announce my father, Donald Trump, passed away today, read a tweet from Trump Jr.'s official account, formerly known as Twitter. Another said, I'll be running for president in 2024. Other X posts included references to North Korea, writing the country, quote, is about to get smoked, unquote. Another tweet included, quote, some interesting messages with Jeffrey Epstein, a known sex offender and financier who committed suicide while awaiting federal sex charges. For his part, Elon Musk is exploring a monthly charge for X system access. This from CBS News. Elon Musk says X, formerly known as Twitter, is considering having its users pay a small monthly fee to use the social media platform. On Monday, Musk made the remarks during a live-streamed conversation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about artificial intelligence, saying the fee would be meant to keep bots off X. It's the only way I can think of to combat the vast army of bots, Elon Musk said. He also added that X has 550 million monthly users that generate 100 million to 200 million posts every single day. In news of the states, this out of Georgia. From USA Today, 3 Georgia Republicans who were indicted with Donald Trump for allegedly posing as presidential electors to overturn the 2020 election asked a federal judge yesterday to move their cases from state to federal court. The judge has already rejected a similar request from former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Georgia Republican Party Chairman David Schaefer, then Senator Sean Still, and Kathy Latham argued their positions as federal electors should protect them from state charges. Quote, by federal law, these people were not fake, sham, or impersonators, said Craig Allen. He is an attorney for Schaefer. Quote, they were contingent federal electors when they went and did their duty on December 14th, 2020, unquote. Out of Arizona, a fact check from USA Today talks a little bit about what has been called an election day miscount. Responding to an ex-post titled, quote, breaking, evidence shows the Maricopa County Election Day printer failures were caused by malware or by remote access, unquote. USA Today Fact Checks has rated that post false. The post continued, by the way, with 200,000 ballots were ejected out of 248,000 votes cast. It was more than 500 times in 5 days. That was the original post. The post was generated from right-wing website Leading Report, was shared more than 8,000 times in 5 days. An investigation by a retired state Supreme Court justice found the cause of those printer problems was the switch to larger ballots printed on heavier, thicker paper, not malicious actions. County officials have repeatedly said that all legally cast ballots were counted and included in the official results. Out of North Carolina this morning, a man using Google Maps drove off a collapsed bridge, and now the family is suing. This also from USA Today. A North Carolina woman blames Google Maps for the death of her husband last year after he drove his car off a collapsed bridge, following directions from the GPS service. On the night of September 30th, 2022, medical device salesman Philip Paxton drowned after his vehicle plunged off a bridge in Hickory, North Carolina, that collapsed in 2013. This, according to State Highway Patrol Master Trooper Jeffrey Swagger, talking to USA Today last year. In a negligence lawsuit filed against Google's parent company, Alphabet, Tuesday, Paxton's wife, Alicia, alleged that Google Maps directed him to cross the Snow Creek Bridge as he drove through unfamiliar neighborhood heading home from his daughter's 9th birthday party. State troopers found the body of the Navy veteran and father of two in an upside-down and partially submerged pickup truck that drove off the unguarded edge, crashing 20 feet below, according to the court filing. The troopers added there were no warning signs or barriers presented along the roadway, which was not repaired by the time of the accident. And in food news, aspartame may be cause of memory loss and learning deficits. This from Fox News. The non-sugar, low-calorie sweetener aspartame, which is found in many sugar-free or diet foods and drinks, has been linked to potential problems with memory and learning, according to a study from Florida State University and their College of Medicine. In the study, which was published in the journal Scientific Reports, male mice that consumed aspartame, even at levels deemed safe by the FDA, had offspring that demonstrated spatial learning and memory deficits, according to a press release from FSU. Over a 16-week period, researchers studied 3 groups of mice. They were fed aspartame at a regular dose, an increased dose, and then they were fed water. The mice were then tested in mazes at intervals of 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and 12 weeks. The ones that drank only water were able to find the safe box to escape from the maze much faster than the ones who contained or consumed aspartame. The aspartame-consuming groups eventually completed the task, but they took much longer to do it and sometimes needed help. Acting news. Actors. John Cusack has had strong words for the Democrat Party elite. He started branding them as full of S-word and blasted them on social media for allegedly selling out the working class for decades. This being reported by Fox News. They played a major part in creating the precise conditions for fascism to flourish. Obama corporate Democrats are to the right of Richard Nixon on domestic policy. Don't believe me? Look it up. The Democrats have sold out the working class for decades, and this kind of bought and paid for betrayal of principles, fairness, historic precedents, any sense of moral or intellectual honesty, the kind of brutal, selfish, horrific actions one only does because they can get away with it, he wrote in part on X. This according to the actual social media site on Monday. The 57-year-old Say Anything in High Fidelity star's lengthy post continued with a takedown of the party's complacency with the wealthy, not far enough left politics, and neglecting certain principles. He argued the party's elite trajectory had planted fertile ground for the Republicans like Donald Trump to win the next election. And finally, someone said something nice about Kim Kardashian. This, of course, national news. This from USA Today. Just when we thought we'd freed ourselves from American Horror Story, which had been virtually unwatchable for nearly a decade, Hulu lured us back into this gory, gimmickry fold with season 12 of the FX anthology series, Delicate, starring none other than Kim Kardashian. The few times the premiere episode had a pulse came when Kardashian was on screen. The shapewear mogul has long been called vapid and superficial by her critics. But here, she cleverly leans into her Valley Girl persona, playing one character's concerned publicist called Siobhan. She dryly eviscerates everyone from Hilary Swank to the directors of Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, and makes Waldorf out of word salad. Quote, "You have a particular penchant for turning dreams into nightmares," Siobhan says in her dual role as Anna's confidant and walking exposition. Now, the article says that Kardashian's acting skills may be more People's Choice than Emmy-worthy, but like American Horror Story alums Jessica Lange and Lady Gaga before her, she's the only one so far to deliver the season's high camp potential. And for that, we thank you, Kim. You're doing amazing, sweetie, said the article. That is the front page for this Thursday, September 21st.